Today, we're going to unravel a genuine historical mystery. It's the story of the person who wrote the world's very first novel, and it's a story packed with court intrigue, forbidden knowledge, and a name that, well, isn't really a name at all. So this is her, the woman at the very heart of our story. We know her as Murasaki Shikibu. Over 1,000 years ago in Heian-era Japan, she wrote the Tale of Genji, an absolutely sprawling, psychologically deep epic that has just captivated readers for centuries. But here's the thing that's just wild. The creator of one of the most important books in all of world literature, we have absolutely no idea what her real name was. How is that even possible? Well, it turns out Murasaki Shikibu was basically a nickname she got at court. The Shikibu part, that pointed to her father's job in the Ministry of Ceremonials. And Murasaki, which means violet, was probably a nod to a super popular character from her own novel. So in public, she was defined by her dad's job and her own fictional character, not by who she actually was. So how does someone in that world become a literary giant? It really all starts with an early life that was anything but typical for a woman of her time. Okay, so let's set the stage. Murasaki lived during Japan's Heian period. This was this incredible golden age for art and culture, but it was also a world with incredibly strict, rigid rules, especially for women. The court aristocracy, they kind of lived in this insulated bubble, a world totally obsessed with beauty, from how you layered your colored robes to how perfect your handwriting was. But right underneath that gorgeous surface was a society with some seriously unbending rules. And this is where you really see how different Murasaki's life was. Okay, so noble women were forbidden from learning Chinese. That was the language of government and real scholarship. But Murasaki, she grew up in her father's intellectual house, and she secretly listened in on her brother's lessons until she became fluent. While most girls were married off super young, she was still single and just soaking up knowledge into her 20s. This quote from her own father just says it all, doesn't it? He was a respected scholar, he saw her brilliant mind, but all he could do was sigh about the fact that her gender would stop her from ever really using it in the world of men. It was a deep, personal tragedy, though, that would unexpectedly become the thing that ignited her creative genius. Her life took this sudden, dramatic turn. She married an older man, a friend of her father's, and they had a daughter. But then, just 2 years into their marriage, her husband died in a cholera epidemic. And just like that, she was a widow in a world that didn't have a lot of options for women on their own. And you can just feel her despair. In her own words, from her diary, she was completely adrift and facing a future of loneliness that she called, quote, unbearable. And it was right there in that grief and isolation that she picked up her writing brush. She started to pour everything she had, her sharp observations of the court, her sense of loss, her incredible knowledge of people, into a story. But a talent like that, it doesn't stay secret for long. Her writing soon caught the eye of the most powerful man in Japan, and it pulled her into the glittering and frankly treacherous world of the imperial court. Enter this guy, Fujiwara no Michinaga. He was the ultimate political operator of his day. He basically ran the imperial family by strategically marrying his daughters to emperors. And when he heard about Murasaki's growing fame as a writer, he saw a huge opportunity. See, his plan was ambitious. He'd made his daughter, Shōshi, an empress, and he wanted to build this amazing cultural salon around her that would totally outshine all his rivals. To do that, he needed a star, a headliner. So he recruited Murasaki to be a tutor for the empress and the salon's resident literary celebrity. Now, when Murasaki got to court, she wasn't the only literary star in town. There was also Sei Shonagon. Shonagon served a rival empress, and she was everything Murasaki wasn't. She was witty, she was outgoing, she was famously clever. In the competitive, catty world of the court, a rivalry between the two best writers of the era was pretty much guaranteed. And we don't even have to guess about the drama. We have receipts straight from Murasaki's own diary. Check out this takedown of her rival. She calls Shonagon dreadfully conceited for showing off and littering her writing with Chinese characters. The irony is just amazing. Murasaki is dissing her rival for flaunting the very skill she herself had to hide. This is professional jealousy, crystal clear from 1,000 years ago. But despite all the court drama, or hey, maybe even because of it, Murasaki kept writing. And in that high-pressure environment, she finished her masterpiece, a work that would long outlive all those petty schemes.
The Tale of Genji, it's not just a book, it's a universe. We're talking 54 chapters, over 1,000 pages. It's this massive epic that dives deeper into human psychology, into love, loss, ambition, than literally anything that had been written before it. And its legacy? I mean, it's just staggering. Within 100 years, it was already considered a classic in Japan. 1,000 years later, it's been translated into languages all over the world, and it's recognized as a cornerstone of world literature. Its influence is just immense. But beyond its literary genius, the novel is a priceless time capsule. It gives us the most detailed, intimate picture we will ever have of the culture, the politics, and the emotional lives of people in Heian, Japan. It's history, brought to life through breathtaking art. And that really brings us back to the mystery of the woman herself, a figure whose real name is lost to time, who was trapped by the rigid rules of her society, yet somehow she observed the human heart with such incredible clarity that her story still resonates with us a millennium later. It's really a testament to the power of art to find those universal truths that transcend any single time or place.